Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our, sorry about that. Welcome to our Lead the Field Q&A call for the month of July. I have Bob on the line, and we have quite a few questions to get through today. So if you're ready, Bob, we'll go ahead and start.
Bob is ready. Wait till I turn off my Skype so I don't have the same thing going. Hold on here. Oh, here it is here. Quit Skype. No, let's go. All right.
Okay, our first question is from Tiffany. She says, how do I feel and connect to a happiness emotion?
Well, pick a time when you were very happy and go and relive it. Or think of something that makes you happy and mentally do it. Be it. Gerda said before you can do something, you have to be something. Well, get involved in it mentally. You know, that's how you connect to it. There's things that you do that you really enjoy doing. Mentally start doing them. Doesn't matter what it is. Your subconscious mind can't tell the difference between what you imagine and what's real. You can get, think of what actors do. That's what an actor does. That's what William James from Harvard way back 1900 said. It's the actor's technique. Act like the person you want to become. I'll tell you what to do. Go and download Pretend by Nat King Cole. The song Pretend. Get the lyrics. Learn them. Sing it. Pretend you're happy when you're blue. It isn't very hard to do. And you'll find happiness without an end whenever you pretend. That's what you're doing, Tiffany. Go ahead. Next one. Is Tracy there? We lost Tracy.
I was reading on mute. Start over. Next one's from Renata. I suffer from a negative attitude, negative thoughts, feelings, and actions. I've always had this problem for as long as I can remember. What can I do to fix my negative attitude?
Quit telling yourself you've got a negative attitude. Write this out, Renata. I am so happy and grateful. Write it out. I am so happy and grateful. Now that I see the good in everything that happens. Understand there's good in everything. Harvest the good. I am so happy and grateful now that I harvest the good. I see the good in everything that happens. I'm proud of my positive thoughts, feelings, and actions. I am proud of my positive thoughts, feelings, and actions. And quit telling yourself that you have a negative attitude. I've got a great attitude. Tracy on here has got a phenomenal attitude. Everybody talks about what a great attitude she has. Next one.
Next one's from David, and he has two questions. First one, I'm working on lesson 3, and I'm searching for a specific goal to reach. The problem is that I have an obsession that I want to delete from my life because even if it gives me a lot of pleasure, it's not very moral and it doesn't lead me anywhere. It's very hard to find something else that inspires me and motivates me because all my thoughts and desires are oriented by this obsession. Do you have an idea of what I could do to find a positive way to replace this bad habit by another one if I'm not really inspired by anything else?
I'll tell you what you can get very inspired by is doing something for other people. Now, if you're not doing that now, you might find that hard to believe. But as you start doing it, where you're really helping other people, you're going to get just tremendous satisfaction. There's two forms of income in life we need. One is a psychic income. The other is more of a material income. The material income is generally money. The psychic income is satisfaction we get from what we do, how we spend our days. So I would suggest, David, that you find something you can do for other people. You may only do it for an hour a day. If you did it for an hour a day and do it, say, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something for other people and really get involved in it. Give it everything you got for 30 days. I'll guarantee at the end of the 30 days, you're going to learn something about yourself. You will get a lot of satisfaction when you're really doing something of value for other people. Tremendous value.
All right, and his second question, what do you say to the skeptics when they don't believe there is one mind?
I don't even talk to them. I'm not interested in them. Why would I be interested in that? Why try and, a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. You might want to remember that. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. When you force something on somebody, if they don't believe it, they don't believe it. But why do you care? First of all, it doesn't matter. It only matters that you understand it. I don't spend a lot of time with anybody that isn't involved in personal growth. I don't have anything in common with them. Why would I spend time with them? And I do. And I am a busy guy. I mean, I'm not looking for things to do. I am very busy all the time. And I'm always working on a couple of big projects that I'm trying to figure out how to work into what I'm doing. So I don't have a lot of time to hang around with anybody. So I don't have a lot of people that I really spend a lot of time with, but the ones I do are very upbeat. They're very goal-oriented. They're very positive, and I love being around them. I don't think I'm any better than anybody. I just think I'm more fortunate than most because I really believe in all this, and it pays itself. I mean, the results prove it. Next one.
Next is from Byron. Originally, I set a C-type goal for $50 million in 3 years and then scaled it back to $5 million as it appears more manageable. Both are still big targets to shoot at. Have I limited myself?
Probably. If you want 50, why are you going after 5? See, what you did, at least what it appears you've done, when you set a C-type goal, you don't know how to get there. And you're always trying to figure out how to get there. And you have difficulty figuring it out. And because you can't figure it out, you start to think maybe you can't do it. And the old paradigm's picking at your brain all the time anyway, and it's telling you why you can't. And you start to believe the paradigm because you just can't see a road to it. You don't have to be able to see how to get there. You only have to know you're going to get there. And you have to know that if you hold that idea and you keep thinking about it, the way will be shown. But it'll only be shown as it's needed. Like you don't need to know how to get 50 million right now. You probably have to know how to get to the next step. You just have to know how to improve what you're doing. So you probably have compromised. I'd go back to your original goal. 50 million is not that much, you know?
Next one's from Elena. Bob, do you mean to do 2 different things in the extra hour we set aside? Earl says write our goal, then 20 ideas for improving the work we now do. You say to commit to a project to begin and complete it.
Well, you might not complete it. That's not the point. The point is that you put attention on it. You give work. Like there's some projects, I'm just thinking of one that I'm working on right now. There's no way I could complete it today. But I can complete the next step of it today. I have to contact a person and discuss this project with that person. Now, that's not going to do the project, but it's going to be the next step. So I got to do that. So you're not going to get it all done. These are goal-achieving activities that we're talking about. And you might not come up with 20. You may only come up with 6. It doesn't matter. What Earl's referring to, what I'm referring to, is get your mind moving on that track. Stay on that track. It's an upbeat movement that you're involved in. And you're working on how you can. Don't spend any time, not a second, thinking of why you can't. Now, some people say, well, I've got to consider this. No, you don't. You don't have to spend any time talking about why something can't be done. I know a person that had a goal one day. I was talking to her, and she was a long ways from her goal. And she was, I think, a little reluctant telling me what it was. Well, damn, within a couple of weeks, she had reached her goal. You've met people like that, haven't you, Tracy?
I sure have.
Next one.
Next one's from Brianna. Working with the laws and vibrations, how does this work on balancing hormones while pregnant so the sickness and fatigue does not drag us down or hold us back in life?
Well, first of all, I've never been pregnant, so I can't speak with any authority here. But I do know this. There are laws of the mind. And you can let the body control the mind, or you can have the mind working on the body. And when you're talking about the hormones and pregnancy, everybody has hormones. And you don't have to be pregnant to have them affect you. But I do know that you can let the body control the mind, or you can have the mind work on the body. Now, it may be a bit of a struggle at times, but you can still do it. If you accept the idea that there's something going on in your body that you have no control over, then that's the way it'll be. But clearly understand this. You do have control over your body. Your body is a molecular structure, and it's in a high speed of vibration. And the images that you are emotionally involved with will alter the vibratory rate of the body. So start to see yourself when it starts to do that. Start to build an image of how you want to feel and start feeling that way. Don't give a lot of energy to feeling sick or fatigued. Start to image yourself gaining strength, okay?
And you should also download our meditation audio from our website that you did for pregnant mothers. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, you used that.
I sure did. And it was amazing. My last birth was the calmest one I had. It was amazing.
There you go.
Next one from Menachem. Dear Bob, what does a picture of perfect health look like? What pictures do you need to see on the screen of your mind to see perfect health?
I don't know as you see perfect health. I think you feel perfect health. You just feel so good. I don't know as you see it. I think you hold an image of just something wonderful happening inside of you. See a beautiful lavender energy. This is what I do. I see a funnel like coming in through the crown of my head, and it circulates through my brain and into my face and my tongue and my throat, my neck and my shoulders. And I work right down to my feet. And I see this lavender energy just circulating down through my body. And as it does, it moves me into a very calm, relaxed state. That's a healthy vibration. Okay?
Next one's from Oscar. I need to know how to get back on track. I don't know what happened, but I need to get back to where I was and beyond. I'm ready for exponential growth. I'm ready to move forward in a big way.
Okay, start right now. You're back on track. That's the way it goes, Oscar. I am on track. Write that down. I am so happy and grateful now that I am on track, moving in the direction I want to move, and my life keeps getting better every day. Now, you see, this sounds like Pollyanna, but if you keep repeating that, that's the way it goes. As long as you tell yourself, I'm off track, you're off track. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am on track, moving in the direction of my dreams. I'm getting stronger and better and more creative every second of every day. Make up a positive statement for yourself of how you want to be, but it's got to be present tense, and you do it over and over and over again, okay?
Okay, next one's from Efren. How do you improve on your people skills?
I would get a hold of Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's an old book. It was written back in the 30s, but it's a classic. I think it was in the 30s. How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you want to improve your people skills, get interested in everybody you talk to. Get to know everything you can about them. Have some stock answers that you ask. What do you do? How long have you been doing that? How did you get started in that? That's really interesting, you know? And find out as much as you can about them. But when you're asking the questions, listen, really listen. You don't listen to hear, you listen to understand. You might want to write that down. When I talk to somebody, I listen. I don't listen to hear, I listen to understand where they're coming from. And you know something? If you do that, when you leave, they'll say, wow, is she or is he ever an interesting person? And they don't even know anything about you. Do you know why they think you're interesting? Because you're interested. You want to be loved? Be lovable. You want to be interesting? Get interested. It's pretty straight. Go ahead.
Next one's from Maja. Can you tell me more about the law of gender?
Well, the law of gender decrees that everything is positive and negative, and the truth is everything just is. It's neither positive or negative, but the law of gender covers a number of different things. It covers the gestation period for all seeds. We talked about pregnancy a few minutes ago. From the moment of conception till the birth of the baby is approximately 280 days. You know, it varies from time to time, you know, a few days sometimes too many days with premature birth. But the gestation period is about 280 days. For a carrot seed, it's around 60 days that I understand, or 70 days. So all seeds have a gestation or an incubation period. We know what that is for physical seeds. We didn't always know. I mean, before agriculture, we didn't know what caused stuff to grow. It just grew and we took it. But we studied it and we started to learn it. Like I always pointed out, when farmers grew short corn, and they were called dumb farmers, they were dumb farmers. Today, dumb farmers, they're not dumb farmers because they don't grow short corn, they grow tall corn. They found out if they rotated their crops, that they wouldn't drain all of the nutrients from one field. Like if you plant corn the same place all the time, it will drain the nutrients that's needed for the growth of corn from that field. But if you move it around, you put wheat in this year, corn in next year, barley the next year, something like that, then you're going to have good crops. They sent their children to agricultural college and they come back and they learned how to do all these things. Things started to work different. Well, we've got to understand that all seeds have a gestation period. No one to date, so far as we know, has ever learned what the gestation period is for a non-physical seed. I call it spiritual seed. An idea is every bit as much a seed as a physical seed. Because you got to ask, where did the physical seed come from? It comes from the non-physical. Everything does. There's only one source of supply. So you've got to realize that you're guessing when it comes to a goal for the gestation period is for a non-physical seed, but it still grows by the same law. And there's another law working with it is perpetual transmutation of energy. Moves into form, through form, and back into form. So you bring all the laws together. They join together like colors of a rainbow, like a great mosaic. You can't talk to one without talking about the others. But if you go, what is that program, Magic in Your Mind? We go into each one of the, no, we don't, that's the intellectual factors. In The Science of Getting Rich, in chapter 2, in the workbook, we get into it. But there's laws, we get into laws here in this program. Let's see, hold on just a minute. Over here. Stay with me. Where are the laws in here? It's, on page 86 in your workbook, you've got the laws, the 7 of them. Law of perpetual transmutation, law of cause and effect, law of vibration, law of polarity, law of rhythm, law of relativity, law of gender. Now, there is but one great law, energy is. These are all subsidiary laws. Energy is. It is neither created nor destroyed. It's the cause and effect of itself. 100% evenly present, all places at the same time. Next one.
This is from Marco. What are some mental exercises we can do to rid the body of disease? How do we coach those around us to help with the healing process?
Well, first of all, you can coach. It's an educational process. When you talk about coaching, it's really an educational process. Help the person understand that their body's made up of particles of energy. And this energy vibrates. Everything moves. They look at their body, get a microscope and look at their body. It looks solid, but it's really not solid. And if you nick yourself and cut yourself, you see where the skins get parted and it'll bleed. But then you watch, it heals. A little scab comes and the scab falls off. Well, how did that happen? It all knitted together because it was moving. It was vibrating. And so that's how the body heals. It's through vibration. Well, we want to do is don't give energy to sickness or disease. I always tell people, they ask me, should you go to a doctor? Absolutely. Go to a damn good doctor too. Like, pick good doctors. Don't just pick there's lots of bad doctors, just the same as there's bad streetcar operators, there's bad pilots, there's bad everything, butchers. But you know something, there's good ones too. I think there's more good than bad. So you find yourself a good doctor and let the doctor look after the body. You look after the mind. But let the doctor take care of the body. You take care of the mind. And how do you do that? You visualize yourself being the way you want to be. You visualize yourself feeling good. You visualize yourself in a marvelous vibration. That's why meditation is so important. You should meditate every day. Put yourself in a calm, relaxed state. Okay? And help people understand that, Margot.
All right. Next one's from Neblia. I know that studying on a daily basis is important to change our habits and set new ones. What is a typical acceptable study routine from your perspective in terms of content, area focus, and times?
Well, I study for probably an hour every day. Like, I'm up early. This morning, I don't know why I didn't get up early. Never get up till about 6:30, which is very late. But I read for about an hour every morning. I study. Now you study toward a particular end. Always like read your goal, and that's why you're studying, to come up with ways to move you in that direction. When you're working on changing habits, what you do is take a look at a result that you're getting in your life that you're not particularly fond of, and say, I don't like getting this result. I want to improve it. Well, you have to then say, well, what's causing the result? What's the way you're thinking about those results, and it's the way you're acting. So what you've got to do is change the way you act. See, the action produces the result. Thought causes the feeling causes the action. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. So you make up your mind you're going to change the action to get the result you want. Now, how do you do that? Well, you take a look at the result that you're getting, and then you take a look at the action that's causing it, and then write down an action that's a polar opposite. And you'll get results that are polar opposite. And start focusing on that. Write it down every day. I always tell people, many years ago, I went into a bar. Well, this is before I really started to study this. And I picked up a drink, and I looked around, and I thought, they're all bums in here. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, I must be too, because I'm always coming here. And I put the glass down and I said, I'm never going to pick this up again, and I never have. But you know what I did? I walked out of the bar, and I went across the road to the racetrack, and I started to bet on horses. I broke one bad habit for another one. And I learned that if you don't replace a bad habit with a good one, you'll automatically replace it with another bad one. Nature abhors a vacuum. So today, when I'm breaking a bad habit, I don't bet on horses, and I don't go to bars. But when I change the habit pattern, I consciously and deliberately replace it with a positive one. So I think that's really where you're going, Nabil. It's pick your, and you want to enjoy changing it. Don't see it as a struggle. See this as something that's good, and you're enjoying it, you know?
All right. Next one's from Harry. I am becoming an affiliate for the new Lead the Field course. I haven't sold before. What are some of the best books to study to get me started, and what are the best goal-achieving activities to do daily?
The best goal to start study, or the thing to study, is to Lead the Field. And don't start selling Lead the Field. Sell the benefits of Lead the Field. Tell them. Say, find out, get talking to them about them. Find out what they're doing. Like I say, Harry, what do you work at? How long have you been doing it? Say, Harry, do you know that almost 95% of the population get the same results this year as they were getting last year? Just take a look in your own situation. I want you to take a look at what you're earning now, and we can use that. We'll use money as an example because you can measure it to the penny. We can talk about how you're feeling, but that's a very difficult thing to measure. We can talk about how happy you are, but that's a very difficult thing to measure. So let's talk about money for a few minutes. What were you earning a year ago? And what are you earning now? It's probably very much alike. But you know something? It's the same with your next door neighbor. And you see, we almost accept the idea, well, you really can't change it much. You can change anything. You're a creative being. And when I started to learn this, I started to get excited about it. And I learned it because of a program. I became so impressed with this, I've decided I want to share this program with as many people as possible. And start that way and start to sell the benefits of it. Teach them a few things about it. And then when they say, well, I'm not spending that much on that, say, you're going to spend the money anyway, Harry, and you're going to spend the time. So it's not a matter of you're going to spend the money. It's what are you going to spend it on? See, if you take a look at what you spend the money you've earned over the past year, most people can't tell you what they've spent it on. And if you look around your house, you get all kinds of stuff in there you don't need. You know why you got it? Because you want it. When you really want to improve the quality of your life, Harry, you'll put a few dollars into it in a little bit of time. And I'm going to tell you something. I can show you how to do it, Harry, because I'm good at it, because I've been studying it for a while. And that's the way you want to approach it, Harry. Next one. What do you think of that, Tracy?
I like that idea.
Well, good.
From Nino, I am certain I will reach my goals, and I often find myself getting impatient, which I realize alters my attitude and will further delay the results. How can I work daily on improving patience?
Well, everybody's working on that. You know, it's like I said, give me patience and I want it now. You know, you just become aware that you're impatient and say, wait a minute, everything takes time. If I finished it right now, am I going to be that much better off? Maybe I should enjoy what I'm doing. Maybe I should get enjoyment out of this. What's the rush? You're not going anywhere anyway. You're already there. All you're going to do is just increase your awareness. So, you know, be a little patient with yourself. You'll like yourself better. Have a little talk to yourself, you know. Become your own therapist. And you'll find it starts working pretty well, you know. Next one.
Next one's from Joanne. How can I visualize a way to meld your program and my environmental agenda to define my goals?
Well, I don't know what your environmental agenda is, but I do know this, that you start talking about this to everybody you can. Start, whenever you're talking to anybody, start to steer the conversation in this direction. Just steer it in this direction. So, you know, I've been studying something. I want to get your opinion on it. And just listen to them. And some of them will have crazy opinions. That's a bunch of junk. That won't work, you know. I'm going to say that's pretty interesting. And start steering the conversation to where you want to go. I mean, this is about all I talk to people about. It's all they talk to me about. It's all I want to talk about, you know. Next one.
Next one's from Ching, and they have two questions. First one, you mentioned that we don't get energy, we only release energy. But why would I feel more energetic after taking in some food if I haven't eaten for a while?
Because you've altered your vibration. That's why. Listen, all the energy there ever was or ever will be is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. Understanding that, you are an instrument that energy flows to and through. You're a channel. It's always flowing to and through you. So the trick is, are you a good channel or are you not? Do you block the flow of energy? I want you to think of a hose, a water hose. And I want you to think that you're going to wash your car, but the hose is at the side or the back of the house. So you drag the hose around and you turn on the nozzle and just sort of piddles or pees out of the nozzle. There's no pressure. You know what the problem is. The water's turned on. You see a kink in the hose. So you go back and you start walking back until you find, and you see there, sure enough, there's the kink in the hose. So you take the kink out of the hose and you go back around and that nozzle's flipping all over the place. Why? Because there's power in that hose now. The hose has become a better channel for the water to flow through. Well, start to see yourself as the hose. You're the channel through which energy flows. When your energy's low, you're probably involved in some kind of a problem. You're letting the problem hold you back. You're letting the problem bring you down. That's like a kink in the hose. Take the kink out of the hose. Become a better channel. Start to see yourself as a channel and let the energy flow. There you go, Cheng. That's the way it is.
All right, and the second question. Many years ago, I quit my job, attempted an MLM venture, and failed miserably. Now I requested to be moved to a personal shopper department in my company, Saks Fifth Avenue, where I can only sell by setting up appointments and not to the walk-in clients. Somehow I'm haunted by the previous negative experience of failing and setting up my own company. Please advise.
Well, you see, what was really happening there, Chick, you didn't know what you were doing. And that's what happens to most people going into MLM. I think MLM is good. I often tell people if I was starting over, which I'm not going to do, but if I ever did, because I'm asked this often, what would I do? I would go into multi-level marketing because I think it's a good thing. But I would find one of the best multi-level marketers that I could find, one that's earning a bucket of money and got a nice business going, and I would go and I'd say, tell me exactly what to do and I'll do it. See, the problem with most people, somebody comes along and says, I'm in multi-level marketing. You want to come in, you can earn lots of money. So they say, okay. Neither one of them know what the hell they're doing. So you got the blind leading the blind, and that's the way most of them do it. But if you're going to learn something, go to the best. Now, what you want to do, if you're doing something with Saks, find somebody that's doing what you're going to do really well. Pick the best there is. Now, go and talk to that person. And if they don't talk to you, find somebody else that's really good at it. Say, would you tell me, if you were starting to do this now with what you've learned, would you tell me 4 or 5 things that you would do religiously every day? And then do that. Get your direction from somebody that's really good. Let go of the MLM. That was just a bad experience. You probably had other bad experiences in life too. Just don't give them any energy. You had bad experience because of ignorance. You just didn't know. And you didn't know you didn't know. That's got nothing to do with what you're doing at Saks. Absolutely nothing to do with. You're a different person, for goodness sake. Time's passed. You've changed. This has changed. So start to give yourself some leeway. Give yourself a little slack and say, I'm going to find somebody that's really good at this, and I'm going to find out from them, what should I do? And then do exactly what they tell you. There you go. Next one, Trace.
Next one's from Richard. How do you know the difference between a terror barrier feeling and the feeling of intuition picking up bad vibes?
Oh, you'll know. You'll know. You will know. This is where you got to get real honest with yourself. And I'm going to tell you, you don't get many bad vibes from intuition. Usually good vibes from intuition, telling you where to go. But when you hit a terror barrier, that's because you're afraid to go through it. That's a paradigm trying to stop you from going where intuition's telling you to go. Intuitively, you know that if you do this, things are going to get better. Intuitively, you know that. It's the paradigm that's trying to stop you. You go crashing right through that terror barrier. Say, get out of the road. I'm coming, baby. Does that work, Tracy?
It's a good answer for me.
There you go. Tracy said it. That settles it. Next one.
Next one's from Lucy. When do you know when your seagull is on its way?
You know the second you decide it's going to come to you. That's when it starts on its way. It's on its way the second you start to see yourself with it. Because you've moved into vibration, you've moved into harmonious vibration with it. It may take a couple of years. God, I've had the same state goal now for about 3 years. And I'm just beginning to see how it's going to happen. Just starting to. I still don't see how it's going to happen, but I'm starting to see it now. I didn't have to know how it was going to happen. I just knew it was going to happen because I said it was going to happen. And I decided on it. And I'm acting as if I'm already there. Next one.
Next one's from Florin. I have grown so much, still despite very good results and outcomes, I am worried and concerned about how I will handle all this growth. I am way out of my comfort zone. Help.
Oh, that's wonderful. Stay out of it. Stay out of your comfort zone. You know something? Comfort is a dangerous place to be. You're not going anywhere when you're in a comfort zone. Listen, if you're in a very uncomfortable position doing what you're doing, you're going in the right direction. Get used to it. God, if I start feeling real comfortable, I start to get concerned about me. I know I'm not doing what I should be doing. You're doing good. You just keep moving that way, Florin.
All right, next one's from Chuck. You tell us that we need to bring the future into the present to live there. Please elaborate on that process of doing that. How do I determine the paradigms preventing me from achieving my goal?
Well, you just make up your mind. You're not going to let the paradigm prevent you. Listen, the paradigm is a little voice inside of you, and you can control it or it'll control you. Now, if it controls you, you're probably not going to go any further than you're going. When you let a paradigm start to control you, you have disqualified yourself from achieving anything beyond where you're at. So you say, no way, not going to let that happen. Now, I am going to stay in charge. How do you stay in charge? You see yourself with what you want. You act like the person you want to become. Now that may feel phony, and it is a little phony relative to the results, but that's how you start. That's what actors do. You watch somebody on television, it's not real. You know it's not real. Somebody wrote a script, they read the script, they reread it, they internalized it, and they became it. And they've got you laughing, crying, sitting on the edge of their seat because they're good actors. You want to become a good actor. Give it everything you've got. Okay, next one.
Next one's also a little bit about acting. From Shravani, I'm taking acting classes to bring out the best performance. I will have to relate a scene to an incident in my life and relive it. Will I attract that incident again into my life?
Possibly. You might. There's a possibility. I've never been asked that before, but yeah. But don't worry about that. Don't even give it any energy. If it's something you don't want to attract, put it out of your mind. Start to see yourself with what you do want coming into your life. But the acting class is a good idea. I tell people to buy Stella Adler's book, The Art of Acting. It's a great book. I love it. Next one.
Next one's from Alini. I've been following you for the past 4 years, and I'm a much happier person. Things are becoming better, but slowly and through hard work. How can I have faster results?
Expect faster results. Just expect them. And then are you giving it everything you've got? See, how could I up the ante? How could I be more productive today? Not how can I work harder? How can I get better results with less effort? See, you've got to make sure you get the questions that you're asking yourself right. How can I get better results with less effort? And if you ask yourself that every morning, you're going to come up with an answer to it. Because you ask the question, you'll get the answer. The opposite side of the question is the answer. It's the law of opposites again. Question, answer. Inside, outside, upside, downside. Next one.
Next one's from Magdalene. At what state in the development of a thought does emotion get assigned? Are we to be concerned with strengthening the emotion to help sink it into the subconscious, or is that automatic?
No, it's not automatic. It's through concentration on seeing yourself with it. At what stage of development of a thought does emotion get assigned? Emotion's assigned the second you internalize the thought. See, the emotion is the vibration. When you impress the idea upon the subconscious, it expresses itself through the body. The body's the instrument of the mind. The subconscious is the emotional. It's the subjective mind. It's totally deductive. It's immoral. It doesn't care what you plant. You plant a negative idea, you're going to move into a bad vibration. You plant a positive, you move into a positive vibration. How do you strengthen it? By mentally living it, giving it more energy. That's why we tell people through repetition. Write it out over and over and over again. Okay? Eventually, by planting it and strengthening and giving it energy, it becomes fixed in there. When it's fixed, then it's habitual. You don't have to give it any thought, and it automatically acts. You don't have to think how to pull on your pants. You just pull them on. Why? Because it's a fixed idea. It's an action that's caused by a fixed idea. You don't have to think to brush your teeth. You know, let's see, what do I do? Brush my teeth. Let me think. You don't have to think to eat. You don't look at your plate and say, how am I going to get that into my mouth? I wonder how I get it into my stomach. You just automatically do these things. And that is because you're programmed to do it, but you weren't always. You had to be taught. Do you know there's people I've never seen a knife and fork? They just rip it apart with their hands. See, really, really. Next one.
Next one's from Emma. Can you please explain further in regards to when you say visualize yourself as the stick person?
Well, yeah, I see my head as my mind and everything from the neck down as my body. I see your face and your head, not your face. I see your head as your mind, your face and your body as the instrument of the mind. Now, I say the face because the face expresses. You get expressions on a person's face. So understand the body is an instrument of the mind. It's a marvelous tool. If I were talking to you, I do this so automatic, I don't even have to think to do it because it's automatic. It's like a habit. I have an imaginary line right across the center of your head. And I'm talking to your conscious mind. And I can tell when you get emotionally involved, I'll start to feel your energy change. And I feel it through my intuitive factor. But when I'm talking to you and I'm listening to you, I'm listening to understand, is this all just rhetoric? Is this just, she's just saying this, or is she emotionally involved in this? Well, I'm got very good at determining, because I'm very intuitive. Now, I'm not intuitive by accident. I've worked at developing it, and I got good at it. In fact, I'm very good at it. So I can tell whether you're emotionally involved in something or whether you're not. Your body is an instrument of mine. Watch how a person's acting. Watch how they behave. Watch how they walk. Listen to how they talk. And you'll start to understand what's going on in their mind. You'll start to see what they're emotionally involved in. You listen to some people, my goodness, you think they're on their way to a firing range, you get a shot or something. They're in such bad energy. Your objective is change that person. Help change them. Change the subject. Let's talk about something that almost everybody get interested in. Okay? Next one.
Next one's from Danielle, and she has 2 questions. First one, I have a very good business, and I would like to expand it and hire more employees to help, but I worry a bit about having enough revenue to take care of them. What can I do to override this paradigm?
Do it. Act on it. Act on it. You'll always attract what you need. And you're going after what you want. You'll get it. You'll get it. You may have to cut back on what you're getting yourself for a little bit, but you won't go along with that very soon. Pretty soon you'll get the money out. I always tell people, the first thing you should do if you have your own business is get an assistant. Get an assistant. And some people don't understand that. There's 3 things you do when you have things to do. You do it, delegate it, or ditch it. That's the 3 things. Do it, delegate it, or ditch it. I'm an excellent delegator. Now, I wasn't always an excellent delegator, but I've got very good at it, because I know if I'm just going to depend on what I can get done, I'm not going to get much done. I want to get a lot done, so I get a lot of people helping me. That's what employees do. Now, how do you do that? Well, you treat them the way you want to be treated, and then they'll do great work. I was just talking to my brother here about an hour or so ago. He has a State Farm office out in California, and the company hires him to go out and talk to different agents in different places about how to keep a staff. He's had the same 2 women working for him since he opened his office, and that's about 30-some years ago. You got to pay them right. You treat them right. Treat them like you like to be treated. Okay? Next one.
Her second question, I've never had any business experience before my current business. What can I do to develop self-confidence and think of myself as a successful businesswoman?
Just make a decision you're going to do it. It's probably good that you haven't had any experience. That means you haven't got a lot of bad habits. See, when I started in a business and I had to sell, and I knew nothing about selling, my goodness. I mean, nothing. Like I said, just didn't understand. I didn't understand. So I bought books on selling, and I started to study the books. Now, years later, what I learned, I didn't have any sales managers because I was the only person. I had the best sales managers in the world. They were the authors of these books. And when I woke up one day, many years later, I realized I did have the best sales managers in the world, because these guys, they had bad habits. They didn't put any of them in the book because they knew they wouldn't sell. They just put all their good things in the book. So I was getting the very best from the best. Get a good book on whatever it is, part of business that you want to learn, and start reading on it. And start to think, I'm really happy I'm going to experience. I didn't bring a lot of bad habits with me, because you go to work for somebody else and you pick up their habits. They might have been bad habits. You just form good habits. And understand, you've got confidence. I mean, you're confident you can drive your car. You're confident you can get dressed. We'll just transfer it into this. All you have to do is look at what you've been doing. I did fairly well yesterday. I'm going to do well today. That's confidence in yourself that you're going to do a good job today, because you make a decision. And then start telling yourself what a great businesswoman you are. There you go. Next one.
From Nicholas, can you explain further what you mean by making a decision and not needing the money? Can you give an example of how things came about for people once they have made a decision?
Oh, God, I've made more decisions. Read the story of John and Pat in the Born Rich book. It's under John and Pat story or John and Pat idea. I'm going to John and Pat story, I think. I was sitting down with them. Oh, this goes back a number of years. And they were working for Sun Life Insurance. They worked for Irv Pitch was the manager. He was a good manager too. And very high earning guy. And they were very disturbed. They were not happy. They were in a seminar and they said, could we sit down and talk to you? And I said, sure. So I took the time. I remember it today as if it was today. And it was years ago. We're sitting in the Prince Hotel in Toronto. And I said, I listened to them for a little while and they're griping and complaining about every damn thing under the sun. And I said, you know what your problem is? You guys don't have a goal. No, we have a goal. We want to write more insurance. I said, that's not a goal. That's a desire. You know, it's a hope, a wish. Put it wherever you want. You know, how much more? You know, you got to be definite. And I said, what do you really want? You can have anything you want. Well, they were living in a basement apartment. And they said, we want to have our own house. And I said, we'll go on out and buy one. They looked at me like I'd just fallen out of a tree. They said, we can't buy a house. We haven't got any money. I said, you don't need any money. He said, what do you mean we don't need any money? I said, you don't need any money. You haven't decided to buy a house. What the hell do you need the money for? Well, I watched them, and you could see the idea start to sink in. So I said, listen, I'm going to help you. I phoned a woman. Her name was Natalie Kopman. She worked in a real estate company around the corner from the hotel. And I said, Natalie knew, because she'd been through seminars, and I said, Natalie, come on over. I got a couple of live ones for you. They want to buy a house, and I haven't got any money. She knew they didn't need any money because they hadn't decided to buy the house. So anyway, she came over and found out what kind of a house they wanted. She said, you got a picture in your mind. What do you want? And she explained it. Do you know that less than 2 months later, they were living in a house, 7 Bards Walkway is the address of the house. And when they saw the house, she went and found the house. She showed them. Then they found out what the down payment was. I said, now you go to Irv Pitch, your manager, and say, we have to earn this much money by such and such a date. He told them what they had to do. They went out and did it, and they got the house. Now, they lived in that house for quite a while and sold it, made a nice profit. In fact, my son Brian bought that house. He lived it for a while, and he earned a nice profit when he sold it. You make a decision. You don't need the money. After you make the decision, if you need the money, you'll start to figure out where it comes from. Just look back in your own life. Look at all the stuff you've got. Some of it, you wanted it. You didn't have the money. You started to think. Think of a woman sees a beautiful dress in a window, and she, oh my God. And she musters up enough courage to go and tries it on. And the person in the store really knew how to sell. They said, you know, you look like $1 million in that, Tracy. You, oh, wow. Listen, you just give me $20. I'll put this away. $20, $25, $30. I'll put it away. You know, you don't have to pay for it right now. He sensed that she didn't have the money, see. So she put it away. So here's Tracy walking around with $30 down on a dress that cost maybe $1,000. She didn't get $1,000. But then her husband comes home and says, honey, we got a party we've been invited to. Well, all of a sudden, the only thing that she could wear was that dress. Nothing in the closet would work. She had to have that dress. She would find the money and get that dress. See, when you want something bad enough, you'll always find the money for it. Now, Nicholas, you've experienced this in the past. You make the decision, and if it's money you need, you'll figure out how to get it. But the decision's got to be irrevocable. It's not something you can come back and change. It's so facto, it's happened. Next one.
From Amoret, I've grown tired of my business. I'm trading time for money, and I'm only as wealthy as my next commission check. I want to raise my baby and earn money while asleep. I'm not sure where to begin. How do I come up with ideas for multiple streams of income? I want to create wealth, not work.
Well, wait a minute. If you're on commission, you're just not selling enough. Commission salespeople are the highest paid people in the world. Well, you can come up with stuff. There's online business. Send them some stuff from one of the Morrisons, Tracy. Can you do that?
Yes.
Send Amoret something from one of the Morrisons, and you write to them, tell them I told you to come to them. They'll show you how to do it online. Next one.
From James, I've been working on my paradigm and on myself for a period now. I've been spending 1 to 2 hours daily, and I feel overwhelmed and fragmented sometimes. What can you advise?
Change your attitude. Yeah. You're When you start to change yourself, you start changing your paradigm, you start to struggle with that inner keeper. And that's what it is. The paradigm's like a keeper. It's been controlling you probably for quite a while, James, probably ever since you were a child. And now you're saying, wait a minute, that's not going to control me anymore. At times you will feel a little overwhelmed. You will feel a little fragmented. And you'll think, damn, I don't think I can keep going. Well, then consider the alternative. Do you want it to get worse? Do you want to go back to where you were? No. What do you have to do? You've got to visualize the dream. You got to see where you're going. You got to mentally be there. You've got to pretend you're already there. Like I told somebody, go and download Pretend by Nat King Cole. Pretend it. And there's lyrics in there, the little things you haven't got could be a lot if you just pretend. Your mind doesn't know you're pretending. You've got to start to see yourself where you want to be, James. You're just looking at the task involved and it's tiring you out. Get away from that. Get your mind involved in a beautiful end to it. See where you want to go. You see, I've been working on the same goal for about 3 years, but you know something? It keeps me going every day. I love it. I love it. There you go. Next one.
Next one's from Colin. How should I respond to cynical attitudes and sharp tongues?
Smile and walk away. They just know they don't know. They don't even know they don't know. There's puddles of them all around. All they have to do is look at the results they're getting in their life. You take a look at their results and say, do I want to live like them? Let them have a cynical attitude. If that's how they want to live, life is short. They're sure screwing it up. Don't even try and change them. Just understand this. When they start that, you stay on a positive track, you know what they're doing? They're helping you get stronger. That's what they're doing. Next one.
I actually did that at a party on Saturday. I just smiled and walked away.
I didn't know you were a party girl, Tracy.
It was a little kid's birthday party. It wasn't a little kid.
Well, that's what you do. That's exactly what you do. You just smile and walk away. Next one.
Next one's from Rosetta. You say our attitudes toward others determine their attitudes toward us. Sometimes certain people remain rude and unkind. Is it still our fault? Do we keep trying or do we move on?
Oh, it's never your fault when they're like that. Never your fault. That's a very broad statement. Our attitudes towards others determines their attitude. Our attitude towards life will determine life's attitude towards us. If you keep your attitude right, even in face of these rude and unkind people, you're going to find that you're going to get rewarded. You feel good. You don't let them sway you. It's never your fault when somebody's rude or unkind. You can never take responsibility for somebody else's behavior. You're responsible to them, not for them. I'm responsible to be the nicest person I can be, the most helpful person, the most effective person I can be. Now, if somebody else is trying to knock me off track, I'm not responsible for them. I just say a quiet prayer for them and keep on going. Next one.
Next one's from Devin, and they have two questions. First one, as a leader in the personal development field, do you have any plans in the works to help change the modern education system instead of still doing the same things we have been for the last century?
Well, yeah, I work on changing the education system every day. Now, I'm not going to go in where fools go into the educational system because I don't want to go there. But I'm going to tell you, younger people are studying this all the time. And we're getting through to more people all the time. See, I've been in this now for over 50 years. When I started, you had to find this stuff. I had to go to Chicago to buy some records. Today, they're online. Self-help books are on the bestseller list all over the world. Today, it's common stuff. That's an indication that the self-help system is improving. I was talking to Jack Canfield over the weekend. He and I are talking about maybe doing something together. Jack's probably one of the most respected people in my mind in the business. He and I have been in it now, the two of us, for over 100 years working together. So there's great changes taking place. You see, you don't have to go into the school system to change things. You just work at it, and the people outside are changing. The inside's going to change. It is already changing. Okay, next.
Her second question, do you ever hire any consultants that end up never making any money at all? She's just curious about the success rate.
Well, first of all, we don't hire any consultants. We put consultants in business. They make an investment. They're in their own business. We work with them and train. Do some of them not make any money? Yep. Yep, some of them just won't do what they're told, and they just don't win. But the majority of our people do win because they start to follow what we teach, and because they follow it, they do very well. I can think of a couple of women right now that were making $30,000 and $40,000 a year. They each made over $300 last year. We have all kinds of people earning hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. See, you don't spend any time looking at the people that don't make it happen. I mean, if you're going to go into a restaurant business, you don't go to a place where they fail and say, what should I do? You'll pick the most successful place there is and study it and say, I'm going to pick up some of these habits. Go to the successful people. Do what they say. We bring all our consultants in for a week at a time. We bring them 3-4 times a year, and we get the best ones working with the other ones, and we work with them. Great. Everybody leaves. They all do better. We have a great training system. It goes on all the time. We train people every day. Okay. Next. That's what you, if you're thinking about it, you should become a consultant. You'd love it.
Okay, so we have about 4 minutes. Do you want to take a few live questions?
Well, do you have any questions, Tracy?
Come
on. You good at me?
I'm in vacation mode. I'm getting ready to go on vacation on Friday.
Where are you going?
Going to Florida for my first time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Whereabouts?
We're going to West Palm Beach for about 5 days, and then we're driving over to Orlando to go to Disney World for a few days.
That's wonderful.
So how can I survive with my 3 children on the plane?
Oh, easily. Just enjoy it. Enjoy. That's a great experience for them.
Yes, they're going to love it.
But don't see it as a task. See it as something you're really going to enjoy. It's something for them to enjoy.
Good advice.
Okay? I'll tell you what I want to do. Your husband and 3 kids going?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to take you all out to dinner. How's that?
We would love that.
I want you to go to a real nice place for dinner. I want everybody to order whatever they want, and I want you to tell me how much it costs, and I'll give you the money.
You're the best, Bob.
I work at it. No, I want y'all a real nice place. Don't go to any schlocky place. Go to a real nice place. You know something? I started to take my kids to a real nice place where, they have all the silverware and everything lined out because I want them to learn how to operate in a real nice place. So take them to a real nice place for dinner, and don't look at the price of anything. Just look at what you want. It doesn't matter what it costs. And then you tell me what it costs, and I'll give you the money. You get a credit card?
Yes.
Put it on the credit card, and I'll give you the money before you have to pay it.
Wow. I don't even know what to say. The funny thing is we go out to dinner a lot, and my husband and I, we always think our kids are crazy. And we've had 3 different times where people have come up to us and complimented on how well behaved our kids are at dinner. We just look at each other and we're like, what? So it's so crazy.
Well, you've trained them to be that way then. And they're going to grow up and they're going to be civilized and nice people when they go into a restaurant. That's what they're learning. See, your kids are small, so that's a good time to get them, and they get into the habit. They form the habit of behaving properly in public places. But I want you to go to the nicest place. I don't want you to go to a burger place. I want you to go to a nice place for dinner. Everybody put on your Sunday going to meeting suit if you're taking one. And I want you to order whatever you want. And let the kids order whatever they want. And then you tell me what it is, and I'll give you the money. And you have dinner with me. And you tell the kids that I bought them dinner.
I'm going to start looking up restaurants now, so I'm prepared when I get there.
Yeah, it's a good idea. And you can do that in West Palm, or you can do it in Disneyland, or wherever you are.
Yeah.
Good. Well, you have a great vacation.
Thank you so much.
Well, I want to thank all of you for coming on. I want to thank you, Tracy. You are the best. Tracy, by the way, is one of our stars in our company. We got a lot of stars in our company, but she's one of them. She does a phenomenal job. It's always a pleasure working with you, Tracy.
Thank
so
you.
Have a nice vacation if I don't talk to you before then. And you have dinner on. Good night.
Have a good day, everyone. Thanks so much for joining.